You know, it kills me whenever somebody in the comments is trying to insult my general intelligence level. It doesn't literally kill me, but it frustrates the literally little fuck out of me. And it does that for one reason in particular. And by the way, that camera has not been fixed because I don't give a fuck, really, truly. You know, so that's the main reason why it's in the state that it's in. But people will basically come at me and insult me. Like they'll be like, "Oh no, you have no." Like I'll be like talking about how when somebody leaves a stupid comment about how they feel, you know, big pharma wants money, and the worst part too is that it's usually coming from some anti-vaxxer who, you know, is completely overconfident. Thinks that they're right. But if you fucking think that the vaccines are ineffective, you're stupid, and you're stupid entirely because you think that. Yeah, I said it. I don't need any other reason to know that you are dumber, that a bag of rocks has infinitely more perspective than you. I mean, you're probably some paranoid conspiracy theorist who thinks that you're so insightful and brilliant because of the fact that you distrust the CDC, which is up and down about how, the vaccine, is like the people were 9 times less likely to die from the CDC reports as they were the unvaccinated population. And what infuriates me too, to no end, about this particular thing is that this platform is full of dumb, and Twitter too as well, is full of dumbass chuds who will write some stupid brainlet shit like the vaccine wasn't effective, when in fact all the research says that they're full of shit and there is no truth in them. Get behind me, Satan, to these fucking people. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. It's funny because it's always coming from the do your own research crowd, where it's like, you people don't even know how to do research, clearly. I mean, if you did, you would. I mean, I wouldn't even call what I'm recommending research, but you're at least consuming other people's research. If you do what I did, do you know about, like, the academic journals? Do you know about peer review, the whole process of it, and everything that academia goes through? Do you know how to find peer reviewed academic articles? No. If the answer to that question is no, then you have not done enough research. Do you know how to sort disreputable news sources from actual reputable ones? I mean, where are you getting your information from? Where you've come to the invalid conclusion that the vaccine wasn't effective? Who misinformed you? Who lied to you? The CDC certainly doesn't agree with you. And for the ivermectin crowd, the FDA hasn't, like, look, the FDA reports, no, it has not approved ivermectin for, use for, COVID. It no, it hasn't. I mean, you can Google around for those headlines. It's infuriating too, because, it's like, people don't get this. And it's like, I've noticed the way that, like, if a news article refutes bullshit disinformation that anti-vaxxers want to believe, these people would rather cling to the bullshit that they already believe, and so they will thumb, like, the BBC down for telling the truth, and it will get more down rates than up rates just for being right about something that people don't want to believe or accept. I mean, it's so obvious at this point that the truth is not popular, but it doesn't matter because the truth doesn't depend on popularity in order to be true. Like, reality is going to be reality whether people like and accept reality for what it is on its own terms or not. And the truth of the matter is that, ivermectin has not been approved by the FDA, has not been shown to be effective, and it's coming out in study after study that's in highly reputable, highly cited, peer reviewed academic journals that the rest of you don't seem to realize, have the first fucking clue about how to access, because you'd rather cling to getting all of your news and information from Fox News or idiots on Facebook and stupid people who will give you obscenely dumb medical advice on Facebook or whatever, internet platform that you've gone to, you don't even know how to get your news, your actual information from sources that can be trusted. You're getting it from sources that can't be trusted and are completely disreputable. And then you come on here and you tell me that I'm the dumb one. I mean, at least like I can steer you in the direction of studies like from the CDC. I mean, I've been doing it on my Twitter. You know, for a while now and reputable information about this. And then, there's the other thing that the anti-vaxxers will do, which is really infuriating, which is that the news will report, for instance, that, the new strain of the virus is more effective than any of the strains so far at causing breakthrough infections. So that somebody that's vaccinated, is at greater risk with this particular new strain than they have been with other strains. And they'll read that, and then their misinterpretation of that will be the CDC is mostly worried about the vaccinated population, which is just no. The CDC is still mostly worried about the unvaccinated population in reality, but it's now got more cause to be concerned with the vaccinated too. I mean, you're dealing with a group of people that, can literally see the same news report and come to a completely invalid and incorrect interpretation of the same fucking news report that's just been told about the thing right in front of their fucking faces. This is how they twist what the news reports in the direction that they want to twist it into, where it's, the vaccinated are at the most risk. Some idiot more than 2 years ago told you all that people like me who were triple vaxxed had 2 years to live. Well, I'm still here. Invictus Maneo, bitches. I remain unconquered. How is that fucking possible if they were right? Yeah, fuck you. And the internet comment section thinks that they're so brilliant and insightful to be all like, oh no, the big mama wants money. No, you're not smart. Your comment doesn't even border on on intelligent, because the only way to really truly settle this debate is with evidence. And the fact that the profit motive might be involved in things doesn't mean shit. What matters is evidence, not fucking feelings and bullshit about how they might have a profit motive. It doesn't skew them and make them untrustworthy. I mean, and the astonishing part about this obscene stupidity is that you would rather turn to a news towards medicine. You'd rather pay money towards people that are discredited, disreputable snake oil salesmen that have never had much research that like, for instance, one of the problems with the alternative medicine crowd is that the sample sizes behind their studies will be like maybe 50 people. And then people like me have to be like, what, this needs more research. I'm not discounting it entirely and saying it doesn't work, but you need a large fucking population study in order to draw any conclusions about how your alternative therapy will end up impacting people. And the actual scientific community, like, behind medicine, will come in with large population studies to establish whether or not any particular treatment is actually effective. And you can see the n equals number in the whole thing, and you can actually see how large the sample sizes are, and get a lot of data out of those studies. But you guys don't access that stuff. You probably look at academic papers and your eyes would glaze over, and you wouldn't realize that even if you don't understand a term, you could probably find some dictionary that will explain it to you. But no, I mean, you're not going to go through to the next level to actually understand a research paper from an actual researcher. Like, that's no, I mean, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do the actual intellectual heavy lifting, and then you're going to call me stupid. Like, that is something that I could do. And if I encountered terms I didn't understand, I could probably find some educational resource that would help me understand it. So, what frustrates me about all of this is the level of stupidity. It's the lack of reading comprehension. It's the lack of, even the ability to properly interpret a video that you just watched the way that the person who produced it meant it. When the news is talking about, for instance, the fact that, yes, this new strain is, according to researchers, the most likely to break through, they're not saying that the primary concern is vaccinated people. They're saying that there's more reason to be concerned about the vaccinated people, but we remain concerned about, even more concerned about the unvaccinated population. I mean, you people are so determined to cling to an invalid perspective and to bullshit that you go for this. It's like, I think it's unfortunate, really, and really infuriating and sad and pathetic that the truth is as unpopular as it actually is, because you want to believe a bunch of quackery and bullshit. And the truth that I'm selling apparently is something that you don't want to hear. But I personally don't think feelings matter, because the facts and the evidence don't give a fuck about anybody's. It's cold and completely impersonal. The truth will remain the truth, whether people accept it, whether they reject it, or not. Reality is always going to be what reality is, objectively speaking, no matter what people subjectively want to believe. And I've come to the horrifying realization that people are receiving the same data, reading it, and failing to comprehend the shit that they just read the way that it was actually intended. I mean, the comments, section is full of bile and garbage like that these days, where it's like, oh, they're mostly concerned about the vaccinated population. No, they aren't. I mean, people are dumb, and they will twist whatever information about science that they get into what they want to hear rather than what science actually meant. I, yeah, I find it infuriating and frustrating. And I do not, by the way, depend on YouTube's comment section to recognize my own brilliance. If you people that have a tendency to comment in these comment sections think that I'm dumb, that really ultimately is proof that I am brilliant. Because you're the worst. I mean, I look at these comments and I see what people are actually like that are in them. And I'm reminded that this particular platform, for instance, is Mos Eisley. You will never find a more wretched hive of scumbaggery and villainy. I mean, and I mean, what am I ultimately guilty of but taking out the trash? Like, seriously, I hate it. I've long despised it. I mean, YouTube probably thinks it's somehow better than 4chan, but it is basically 4chan. You know, I mean, that's the cold ass fucking low bar truth about this fucking trash heap of a website. It, you're basically like the social rejects, and the that flock to that particular corner of the web, because but like, also the ones lacking so much self awareness that you don't realize that the people that despise you for very good reasons, very valid reasons. I mean, I read their threads these days, and sometimes it'll be like GTFO to somebody, and I'm just like, gladly. At this point, if I did anything with 4chan, it would just be to build a bot to grab the images and then not even save the text, maybe if it was a link it might store that, but other than that, fuck them. I don't want to socialize with those people. They suck. I mean, you're dealing with people whose every opinion is ugly, disgusting, and abhorrent. It's like, y- I mean, what else am I supposed to even say about it? It's like, like the way that they see the world is disgusting. They're bigoted, hateful, misogynistic, you know, homophobic, anti-Semitic, like every form of hateful bullshit that they can, come up with. They want to cling desperately to the idea that, alpha wolves were real. They want to cling to the idea that there are alpha wolves and beta wolves and alpha males and beta males and omega males and sigma and all this shit. And it's like, this idea of hierarchy is ugly. It's an ugly concept. And if you want to believe in it so desperately, that makes your personality ugly. I mean, I don't get what people do not like. What does not pierce people's brains about this? You lack so much self awareness that you don't see it, do you? And then you're going to point the finger at me and say that you're being mean. You lack self awareness. No, I'm well aware of the dick that I'm being to you to tell you this. The problem is that I'm right about you. You know, I do me knowing that I'm intelligent does not depend on this particular website and the people who write in the comments section telling me how smart I am. My teachers certainly recognized it. The people who were actually in the best equipped to actually assess my intelligence level would tell me that I was one of their better students, but you think you have a right to disagree with them, or that when you do, you're right when you disagree with them. No, you lack the one thing that you lack the level of intelligence and education that it would require in order to come to a valid conclusion about my intelligence level. So fuck all the way off with that bullshit. And one of the ways that I know for an absolute fact that there's no possibility at all that I'm not smarter than most of my peers. I remember my school days. I remember every time, we had to pick up a book, for instance, and somebody actually had to go in and read something. What happened? I would get bored. I would find myself so frustrated that other kids were stuttering their way through reading it that I would read ahead, and then Sensei would basically, I mean, my teacher, by the way, would come back at me and tell me, or call on me, and I'd be like, oh, you know what, I was impatient and read ahead. Can you, tell me where, the rest of the class is so that I can, go back to and not lose our place together. Those, and then I would read, and everybody would see right in front of them that I didn't have anywhere near as much trouble, translating what I was reading in text into, to English as the rest of my goddamn classmates did. I mean, there's a lot of math involved in this. I mean, talisman's cauldron of everything. I mean, not hard, for me. Like what wonderful witchery is this the wizard Tasha, whose great works include the spell Tasha's hideous laughter, has gathered and Bob's the precious lore during her illusions career as an adventurer. I mean, this isn't difficult for me to actually, translate from something that's in text to something that I'm speaking out loud, like it was for all the rest of my classmates. There's no possibility at all the people that don't perceive me as intelligent are right about fucking anything. So, have a miserable life, you fucking, judgmental ass clowns.